I did go to high school, and the closest thing I came to any kind of thing that looked like art was I was taking mechanical drawing, because that looked like maybe a person could get a job for that. I grew up with parents very European, old-fashioned folks. I'm first-generation American. So, I really didn't hear much English for about the first 5, 6 years of my life. And then when I was about 18, the Korean War showed up. So I got swept up in that, and I was gone for 4 years. And then when I got home, I was an assistant window trimmer for it's true, for a firm, men's clothing that had, I don't know, 6, 8 stores around town or something, And so the closest I came to graphics was we would have to make these little signs that went in the window, like Easter sale or something like that. There'd be like a rubber type, you'd put the type, you'd run some ink on it, and voila, a sign, There's one little sidebar. While I was in the Air Force, just to relieve boredom, I would sketch. I would draw anything. I'd draw guys. I would draw a flight line. I would draw anything, And I'm not a collector, but I kept that stuff. It's not all, but, as sort of a souvenir. So I had that stuff. One of the gals that I met down there, she turns out to be the secretary of the dean of the art school at Washington University. And so, voila, I said, I used to do these drawings. She said, he wants to see you. So I went in, so I interviewed the dean. He said, yeah, we'll take you on. And when I went back the second year, Simi, my wife of, over 50 years, she happened to be there. And I took a job my senior year, actually with Frank James. And then I graduated, and I was doing okay. I felt like I finally found something. So I was 28, 29. I was one of the kind of an old person to get out of the art, any school. Anyway, but it worked out okay. There was Roth, me, this other industrial designer. They were so-called industrial design, but I saw design there that's even for a graphics guy. Not that industrial design means any different than what I was doing. I see design. It doesn't matter what the hell it is. So packaging or whatever. And I thought maybe this would be better. My senior teacher, his name was Geist, Peter Geist. And Peter Geist took me in, taught me everything he knew. This guy was a Bauhaus guy. This guy was the best designer this town ever saw. I had a hunch he wanted to get out. And so the timing was when I left Frank, when I said, I'm out here, I'm going to Washington University. I accepted a job at Washington University to be the campus designer. Boom. I was in the office with Whiteman, all the writers, everybody else. The 69, I officially opened the office. I opened the office with my partner. Right. Here she is. So she was the illustrator, I was designer, and we were going to, knock them dead. And what happened was, there's that thing, that arch thing. The arch thing was done for the mayor's office because Carter's wife was coming to town. They wanted to give her something. There's a photo up there of the mayor giving her this thing. This piece is from the 70s. There was, an exhibit, graphics, and this is 1970 work. And I was looking through this thing last night. I happened to find one. Those are some of the logos. And one day I get a call from this guy who wants to come over and talk to me. And his name is Louis Sachs. In walks this little guy, soft-spoken guy. And he tells me about this dream he has. He has been buying up. Well, Louis Sachs owned Sachs Electric, first of all, and he was an electrical engineer, but that wasn't his passion. And so he wanted to do this thing out in Chesterfield. And he had been buying every piece of land out there, looked like west of 270. I mean, he said he would like to have us be part of this team that he's putting together. And so that was it. We put this together, and all of a sudden, here was something besides do us a brochure thing. Here was a whole system. We did signage, we did the displays, we did anything to promote or sell that place out there. Next thing to roll along, I get a call, same deal. They're called Lake St. Louis. So it's the same thing all over again. And what I love doing were these display exhibits. You know, or a person would walk in, you'd pick material, you'd see what you're playing. Those were great. I love three-dimensional stuff. I love doing all that. And that was the 70s. The 80s were just as good. Same stuff, only better. I love doing stuff like this. This is Laclede's Landing. I love architecture. Work with Bob Pettis, all the great shooters in town. And Ernest Trouble walks in one day, he says, hi. I'm having a retrospective show in New York City and all, whatever, and I want you to do the catalog for me. Now, Pace in New York was representing him in those days. About 95, 96, we heard about this thing that Washington University Art School has a studio apartment in Paris. So we apply for it. You have to apply for it, show your work and all that stuff. You gotta be an alum, you gotta be a graduate, you know. And so we did all that. And I thought it was sort of a joke, and the joke became reality. We got it, and we got it for 4 months. So it's in a building with at least 200 of these things. They're all the same, and these people from all over the world. And they're either most visual artists or they're musicians, writers. And then I meet so-and-so, and then so-and-so says, do you ever try etching? Print? And I said, no. He said, well, he takes me up way up in North Paris, and I meet this lady who had, she's probably the best in France. And so she had this shop. She said she would take me on as a student. She had about 3 or 4 people like that. And 2 or 3 days a week, I would go up there and study printmaking with her. I started printing. It all relates to design, because it's either line, shape, or form or whatever. No, I was interested in design. I mean, still, I still make art.